Hello, New Mexico, and welcome to this week's edition of Wealthy Living. I'm your host, Kristen Oakley, and I'm joined in the studio by the founder of Kiehne Wealth Management, Shawn Tyler, and financial consultant, Tyler Kiehne. We've got a great show for you today. We are going to be asking the question of, have you considered refinancing your finances and specifically your retirement? Do you wonder what that even could mean? And most importantly, what it could mean for you? You're going to want to stick with us to find out. Shawn Tyler, so great to be here with both of you this week. How are you?
Doing great. How are you? How are things in North Carolina?
Oh, they're going well, thanks. But you know, I love getting to serve New Mexico alongside you guys. And how are you, Tyler?
Doing great. It's great to see you again and be back in the studio.
Awesome. Well,
Yeah.
I am so excited to have this conversation with you guys for so many reasons. One is because a few months back, we actually did an episode on this subject matter, and I can't wait for the viewers to hear the response and what happened. So why don't you share what occurred as a result of this first conversation we had on this subject?
Yeah, you're exactly right. First of all, I want to say hi to all our viewers out there in the Albuquerque metro area, and we're getting a lot of people telling us, hey, we're watching your show from Santa Fe and Ruidoso and Las Cruces and different towns around New Mexico, so I want to welcome everybody. And yeah, we ran this show about refinancing your retirement a few months ago, and the response was just amazing. Mm-hmm. And you know, typically when we think about interest rates going up, it's a negative thing, right?
Right.
For most people, especially if you're buying a house, your mortgage rate's going to be higher, your house payment's going to be higher. But what we're pointing out to people is when interest rates rise, there's actually a lot of good things that happen, a lot of opportunities, especially in your retirement accounts, where we can improve those for you, make you more money.
Right.
And so that's why we got such a big response, and excited to talk about it again today.
For sure. Well, clearly it's resonating. This message is resonating with folks here in New Mexico. And Tyler, I'm curious, because I know you have a lot of conversations with folks when they call into the TV show, they come in and meet with you all for the first time. Any particular things they've been saying about that subject that really caused them to want to meet with you guys?
Yeah, most of the time they just don't know where they're kind of allocated. They don't understand that they are in lower tax rates, or interest rates, and that they could be earning more money. So they just come in and get a second opinion on the accounts that they currently have. And we can tell them, hey, you're doing pretty good. You're earning a good rate. But a lot of times people don't understand that they're not getting the best bang for their buck that they can get.
For sure. All right, so let's unpack this a little bit more. You did a great job setting this up, because typically when folks hear this term refinance, you think about refinancing a home or refinancing your auto loan. And normally you want to focus on doing those things in lower interest rate environments. Well, over the last several years, we've been in a much higher interest rate environment, and with that comes some unique opportunities, specifically when it comes to refinancing your retirement. And at the recording of this show, we know that the rate has recently been lowered another 0.25%.
Right.
So this makes it a very time-sensitive conversation and something that you want to take advantage of before rates continue to decrease. So let's just, for folks who may not be familiar with this term, maybe they didn't get a chance to watch the first conversation we had, Tyler, I'd love for you to define again, what does this phrase, refinance your retirement, actually mean?
Yeah, all that refinancing means is replacing an old account that might be stuck in yesterday's rates. In the same way, like he said, you refinance your house because you got the rate that you got when you bought the house. Let's call it 8%. So when rates drop, you're going to refinance that house and get a lower interest rate, which would be maybe 4%. So you're getting a better deal, and that's all that means, is replacing what you had in the plan that you had. And for example, there's annuities out there that were earning maybe 3%. I mean, I don't know if you remember, but years ago, what could you get on a bank CD?
Oh gosh, you used to get upwards, it could be double-digit returns, right? Interest rate, yeah.
And right around 2020, you were lucky to get 1%. So a lot of people don't understand that just how you can refinance a house and a mortgage, you can also refinance your finances. And it's really simple to do. All it takes is just looking at the numbers, and we can see on your statements exactly what it is that the client is earning. And it's really simple to just look and say, hey, you're currently getting 3%. There's accounts out there that'll pay you double, 6%, 7%. And it's it's really a no-brainer. Why would you settle for less than what you could get? Why would you do that?
Right.
It just doesn't make sense to me.
And I think it's because there's a lack of awareness, right?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And for people that don't know I didn't know before I got into this space what interest rates even were, right? And what do high interest rates mean? What do low interest rates mean? I'm sure there's people out there who have no idea what that even means.
Right.
But the easiest way to understand it is like this. Interest rates are the price of money.
Okay.
That's all
Yep.
it is. And so high interest rates, think of that as the brake pedal. When interest rates are high, the economy kind of slows down. It's kind of hitting that brake pedal. But when interest rates are low, that's the gas pedal, because the price of money is lower. So people are going to spend more, people are going to buy more homes, invest more, and it's going to stimulate more economic movement and growth.
Right.
So that's all that interest rates are.
Yeah.
And there's two things you need to look at with interest rates. Low interest rates are good when you owe money.
Right, when you're borrowing.
Exactly,
right? Yes.
because you're paying less.
Yep.
But high interest rates are good when you have money, because you're going to be earning more. So taking an advantage of those high interest rates now, while they are here, is essential.
Yeah, for sure. That was a great explanation. Thank you. Because I think, it can be really confusing, especially when you're hearing on the news what's happening with interest rates, and folks are just really wanting to translate, what does that mean for me? And what do I need to do as a result of what might be happening in the current interest rate environment? So Shawn, we touched on this, but explain to our viewers why this conversation we are now having again today, a couple months after the first one we had, is such a time-sensitive issue for folks to pay attention to.
Yes, Kristen, just like we've been talking about, it's a unique environment right now. Interest rates are high and tax rates are low, but they're not going to stay that way.
Right.
Interest rates have already started creeping down, but there's still that window of opportunity to refinance, like Tyler said, some of your old retirement accounts, whether they're bank CDs, IRAs, Roth IRAs, annuities, things like that, and get them into today's higher rates. Do you remember, I remember, my grandparents and even older clients tell me, it used to be so much simpler retiring. I just lived off my interest in the bank,
Yes,
right?
yes.
That's
Yep.
like you were saying when rates were like 10, 12%, things
Yep.
like that. But for so long, the last 20 years or so, rates have been so low, like couldn't even get 1% on our money
Right, you
in
were
a
earning
bank
0
CD.
point nothing percent, I used to say,
like I
right?
would tell
Ridiculous.
people that having your money in the bank then was like you're losing money, but
Yes.
safely.
You're going
right?
broke safely, absolutely
Going
right.
broke safely.
Yep.
So, but right now is one of those unique times in history where rates have jumped up, and let me give you an example of how that could benefit you if you're out there watching today is, for example, we run across a lot of people that have older annuities, and annuities are very interest rate sensitive type products. And for example, have a client, her name's Heidi, and she had an old annuity that was paying her $15,000 a year.
Okay.
And by simply coming in, she watched our show, she came in, and I showed her just by upgrading that into a similar account, but with much higher rates, guess what her income jumped up to? Went from $15,000 a year to $24,000 a year.
Wow.
A $9,000 pay raise by simply upgrading that low interest rate product to a high interest rate product. So those are the kind of opportunities that exist out there today. And I've been so busy doing this the last year and a half, just upgrading people's old annuities, old bank CDs, things like that, old IRAs, 401ks that are kind of stuck in that those lower rates. So
That's awesome.
So I wish it would stay this way, but I know those rates are coming down, so the window of opportunity is closing. So I definitely
Yeah.
encourage people
To take
reach
advantage
out
of it.
and,
Yep.
and check out your options.
Well, because if they're able to lock in at a higher rate, then even when rates continue to come down, they're going to be able to keep that higher rate, correct?
Exactly.
In a lot of these products.
Great point. That was my client's question. Well, yeah, you got me a pay raise from $15,000 a year to $24,000 a year, but what if rates come down? Guess what? by getting you in now, you're protected. You're never going to be lower than that $24,000 a year because you locked in today's higher rate.
Yes, and this is why folks can't afford to miss this unique window of opportunity. So what would you say to someone who's watching right now and maybe going, this is new to me, or I hadn't realized this, or yeah, I want to get in on this before rates come down even further?
Yeah, I would say if that's you out there watching, give us a call. Come in, get a second opinion on the accounts you have. Let us look like if there's an opportunity for us to help you, like our client Heidi that we mentioned.
Wonderful. Well, Shawn Tyler, I'm excited to continue this conversation with you guys. I know we have a lot more to get to, but if this is resonating with you, we encourage you to reach out to the team of Kiehne Wealth. You can do so by calling 877-697-6236 and schedule your complimentary meeting that way. Or if you'd rather connect online, simply grab your smartphone. You can scan that QR code there in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. That will take you over to a landing page, ask you a few short, simple questions, and then a member of the team from Kiehne Wealth will reach out to connect with you to schedule your complimentary meeting that way as well. Don't go anywhere. We're going to continue this conversation of refinancing your retirement and what that could mean for you right after this.
Out of college, I started working for my parents, who are real estate developers in Albuquerque and Los Lunas. Did that for about 15 years. But I had a friend from high school that was in the financial services industry, and he would always tell me, "Hey Shawn, you would be really good at this, you should check it out." So finally I ended up getting into the business about 2003. I just originally started just selling life insurance, and then it just kind of progressed from there to other products and services. I didn't really like working for a large firm because I realized pretty quickly I was only able to offer people what the products and services that company had. And so that's when I decided to go independent, and talking to other advisors and that said that was kind of the way to go. That way we can offer anything that's out there to the people we're sitting in front of. Starting my own firm was challenging. Just like any business, there's things you learn along the way, obstacles, challenges. But I've aligned myself with some nationwide groups of advisors that help coach me, mentor me through the process, people that have been through the process before of exactly what I'm trying to do as far as building a business. So that was a great help to not be doing it alone. But it's been a fun ride, and I believe we're just getting started.
Welcome back. You're watching Wealthy Living. I'm your host, Kristen Oakley, here with both Shawn and Tyler from Kiehne Wealth Management. We're so glad that you're joining us today. If you're just tuning in, we are talking all about refinancing your retirement. This is a part 2, if you will. We had this conversation several months ago. It ended up being one of the most watched episodes. We know that this message is really resonating with a lot of folks throughout New Mexico, so we're excited to continue that conversation with you today. And guys, we need to address an elephant in the room, if you will, that for so many years, folks thought that they were well diversified and that they had a quote unquote more safe portfolio if they had a healthy mix of stocks and bonds. Well, guess what? In recent years, given the interest rate environment that we've been in, a lot of people were in for a rude awakening. Especially at the end of 2022, we saw stocks and bonds go down simultaneously. A lot of folks lost double-digit losses, didn't realize how much risk they were subjected to. I'd love for you to comment on that, because I think that ties in so perfectly with what we're speaking about today, about repositioning yourself, refinancing your retirement. Talk about folks who are relying on bonds for safety and why that may not be the best course of action given where we've been the last few years.
Yes, great point. So a lot of people don't realize, but the way bonds work is when rates go up, the value of bonds goes down. It's kind of like a seesaw.
Yes.
So 3 years ago, we're talking about 2022, when rates were really starting to jump up, we saw a lot of bonds and a lot of bond funds lose value to the tune of, the average one I look at, 10 to 15%.
Wow.
In something that people thought was safe.
They thought they were investing conservatively. Yes.
Man, people are shocked when I actually explain to them, did you know that bonds can lose money? And they have. And so that's a conversation we're having with people now. Like there was a gentleman that came into our office the other day, and he kind of felt that his portfolio should have been growing more and it was really lagging. And then I looked at his statements, and he was heavily in bonds, and the average bond was only paying him like 2.5–3%. And he was like, really? And I said, yeah, what did you think they were paying? Well, I thought they were paying like 5 or 6%. Maybe years ago that's what they paid, but the typical bond is only paying 2.5–3% now. And then I showed him, did you realize that how long have you been in this account? Oh, for 10 years.
Wow.
And did you realize these bond funds that you're in? Look, this one's down 16% since 2022. This one's down 12%. And he just didn't realize that. So that's another example. One things I always say to people is there's strategies for investing in retirement that may have worked well 20, 30, 40 years ago, but maybe they're not working so well in today's world.
Right.
Because today's world is different, and these bonds are just one example of that.
Yes, and because bonds are so interest rate sensitive, that's why there was that shakeup over the last few years with interest rates being higher. But I'm curious, what are some alternatives that you typically are able to share with folks to bonds? Because we know that as folks approach retirement, they don't want to have all their money typically subjected to risk. They want to be invested more conservatively. So if bonds aren't the answer, where do they go?
Yeah, I would look at something as simple as a fixed annuity or an indexed annuity where the returns are anywhere from 5 to 8% a year. But get this, your principal is protected and you can't lose in those type of accounts. And the gains you have in those type of accounts are tax deferred. If you have bonds in a non-qualified account like a brokerage account, guess what? You're not earning much interest, 2 to 3%, like we talked about, and you're paying taxes on that. So I would look for a fixed annuity or an indexed annuity as a great bond alternative.
Yeah, and that's important for folks to know that there are other places to go, right, than what has traditionally worked in the past. You know, there's positives and there's negatives to interest rates going up and going down. Tyler, I'd love for you to share your perspective on this, you know, whichever way you want to take it, because obviously we have been in the higher interest rate environment. Rates are starting to come down. So what are some positives and negatives of where we've been over the last few years?
Yeah, for sure. And it's not necessarily there's one answer to this. It really depends on which side of it you're on. Are you on the borrowing side, or are you on the, the holding your money there trying to grow it side? So a positive of a high rate would be, let's say you were using an account that would give you an income. You're going to have higher income. You're going to have more money in your pocket day to day.
Right, just like the client story you shared
exactly.
earlier. Yes,
and so essentially, by just shifting your account from an old rate to a new rate and locking that in for years after, you're giving yourself a raise in retirement. It's all it is.
Yeah.
And it's just as simple as using the right accounts. We tell people all the time in our live events when they come meet with us, it's as simple as utilizing the accounts that fit your situation the best. Because we always say, everyone has a plan for your money. The IRS, your kids, your grandkids, everyone has a plan for your money. What is your plan? And if you can give yourself a raise just by doing a little tweak like this is something that people wouldn't even realize, you know?
Yeah.
They probably wouldn't even think that interest rates affect them in any sort of way. But just by making a small little tweak like this and just replacing the same account you already have, we're not putting you into something that's new or foreign. It's literally the same account you already have, just better.
Yes.
It's like putting a new engine in the same car that you love, you know?
Yep.
Why wouldn't you?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's so cool to think about that way. Now, I know with rates potentially coming down even further, what do our viewers need to understand about that real quick before we go to break? Anything that you want to make sure they understand about, as rates continue to come down, what they need to be paying attention to? Yeah,
like we said, is what rates are coming down, and this opportunity, like Tyler was talking about, like we've been talking about on this show, it's not going to be around forever. And now is the time to get a second opinion, have us take a look at your accounts and see if we can upgrade you, see if we can get you a raise.
Yes.
And that's part of it, just a really fulfilling part of our job is I can't tell you, we've been busy doing this for the last couple of years, refinancing people's retirement. And it's so rewarding to see the look on their face across the conference table in our office. Wow, you got me that much more money every month. You know, it's so gratifying, and we truly are helping people.
For sure, you're changing lives for the better. I love it so much. Well, who doesn't love to get upgraded? Who doesn't love to get a raise? If that's you, if this is maybe something you're hearing for the first time, or if you're working with another financial professional and they are not having these kinds of conversations with you, you owe it to yourself to get a second opinion. And the team of Kiehne Wealth would love to be able to provide that for you for no cost, no charge, and no obligation, but you need to reach out. That number to call is 877-697-6236, or if you'd rather connect online, simply scan that QR code and that will get you connected as well. Stay with us, we'll be back with more right after this.
I have fun. I wake up every day excited to go to work. Every day is a little bit different.
At Kiehne Wealth, we just like to treat everybody just like if they're our friends or our family. You know, we don't look at it as a business.
Really give them peace of mind. That's the feedback that we get from almost all of our clients is, hey, we really appreciate you. You took the time, you explained everything in simple terms, help us understand it, and we have that peace of mind working with you guys at Kiehne Wealth and Retirement. The benefit of us being independent, our clients like it because we have options to meet their needs. Over the years, we pride ourselves on, we don't just meet with you at the beginning of your plan or your retirement journey. We meet with you all the way from beginning to middle to end. We have annual reviews with all of our clients just to mainly catch up, see how they're doing, see if we need to tweak anything in their plans. What I like to say that people like about us is we're local. We're from New Mexico. My family's been here for generations, and they like to just deal with a real person, not someone on a 1-800 number. Another thing that's unique about us at Kiehne Wealth and Retirement, hablamos español. So we have a lot of clients that speak Spanish only, and they like us because we can explain everything to them in their native language.
Welcome back to Wealthy Living, where today we've been discussing the importance of focusing on refinancing your retirement, why now is the time to take advantage of where interest rates are before they continue to decrease further. What could that mean for you? And really what we're talking about is potentially putting yourself in a better financial position. And after all, better is just better, right guys?
Absolutely.
So I know you have so many stories of folks who have connected with you and who you've been able to walk through this refinancing their retirement process with. I know there was a story that you want to share with our viewers that relates to what we've been talking about.
Yes, so a lot of people out there have money in bank CDs, right? That's another interest rate sensitive account out there. And you know what bank CD stands for, right? Certificate of Disappointment.
Of disappointment.
Right?
Yes. They actually mean deposit, but yes, they can be disappointing, right?
So ran into a gentleman the other day, actually had a lot of money in bank CDs, and he was pretty excited because I asked, how much are you earning? He said 4%. But when we dug a little deeper, found out that between state and federal taxes, he was in a 30% tax bracket. And I showed him, well, did you know really you're only earning 2.8% on those bank CDs because you got to pay taxes every year on those.
Yep.
So what's the solution for him? We showed him how he could upgrade those bank CDs into other accounts that we have access to that he's not going to get taxed on, and he's going to earn a lot more interest, double and triple what he was earning, and they're tax deferred. He wasn't going to pay any taxes until he pulled the money out, so he was really excited about that. And that lessened his income that year, and lessened his tax burden.
His tax liability overall, yeah.
Yeah, so
That's
just
awesome.
another example.
Right, that sounds like a win-win-win, right?
Oh yeah, big
Well,
time.
I know we've talked a lot on today's show today as well about the importance of getting that second opinion, and I know you meet with folks all the time, and sometimes maybe folks come in and they are on track and there's no areas for improvement. Talk about what the conversation looks like if you do review someone's situation and you're like, hey, you're on track, you're doing everything you should be doing. How does the conversation go then?
Yeah, I mean, it's really, we use the analogy that we're financial doctors all the time. So if you go into a doctor and you're perfectly healthy, he's going to tell you. So if you come in and you have a good situation, we're not going to try to prescribe you some new medicine or some new drug the same way a doctor wouldn't do that to you, because it doesn't make sense. We're numbers guys and we're educators at heart. That is what we do. That is who we are. And so if you have a solid plan, you're doing great. Keep doing what you're doing. But oftentimes we find there's little hidden opportunities that, just like the bank CDs, he was earning more in these new accounts that we put him into, and he also paid in less income tax. Like the lady, she was getting more income just because the rates are better.
Right.
Better's better.
Yeah, for sure. So I would say, how often is it that when folks do come in for that second opinion, you are able to find some of those hidden opportunities? Is that pretty common?
All the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
So I think the moral of the story is it's time to get that second opinion, because you never know what things
Absolutely.
might be out there. You don't know what you don't know.
Exactly.
And, right?
Exactly. And there's so many little things that you can tweak, right? If you think of a car engine, there's so many little moving parts, and if one of them is off or one of them's getting in the way of the others, that car is going to have issues.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing in your finances. Why aren't you looking at the fine print and the details of your retirement and of your accounts, of your money?
Yes. No, so well said. Well, I know we have less than a minute in today's show left. What parting words do you want to leave for our viewers, Shawn, of how you can help and serve them?
Yeah, I would just say, if you're sitting out there watching our show and you have older accounts out there, bank CDs, annuities that you set up years ago, don't assume that's the best option out there. Give us a call. Don't put it off. The most expensive mistake you can make is waiting. This is a time-sensitive issue. There's only a short window of opportunity. Give us a call and let's see if we can upgrade you and help you make more money.
Wonderful. Shawn Tyler, thank you so much. And thank you again for joining us today. That number to call is 877-697-6236 to schedule your very own meeting to come in and receive that second opinion and complimentary written financial plan. Be safe, be happy, be blessed. We'll see you next time here on Wealthy Living, New Mexico.